should. Hey guys, welcome to Horology Biology. We are back just before Christmas as well. So I thought I'd throw down this quick video, stripping down this Grand Seiko. And it is, if I check, the reference, because obviously I'm going to forget, 61468040. I hope everybody's doing good and they're all getting ready for Christmas period. Have some time at home with the fam, see friends, good food, good beer, all of that good stuff. And I thought I'd check in on you guys, see how everybody's doing and everything. Oh. Hey Elder, goedenavond man, alles goed? Hey Tom, I'm using my phone to basically read the chat and everything because I want to make sure that I can see the comments because I'm using a different system now. I like this system that I've got as well, it's mad fresh. So I'm putting on a couple of split screens. I got the main overview as well. Man, look at the dial on this thing, guys. Seriously, look at the dial. Oh man, it's so nice. Now I've worked on one of these before, quite similar. Not exactly the same movement, but very, very similar. And when I received this and I was looking at the dial, I was like, man, it's not normal. I don't even know what it is. It's not linen, but it has a texture on it. And it just looks so damn nice. Hey Moto Matt, looking forward to this teardown from Voltaria. What is that? MX? What's that? Mexico? Where is that? You're gonna have to enlighten me, bro. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I'm okay, Elder. I'm doing good, man. It's been crazy windy weather though the last few days. I don't know what it's been like for where you are, but man, the noise has been like really intense. But I'm quite high up where I am, like 4 floors, and man, it's been bashing against the window. Like I was trying to record something the other day, and I couldn't even record it like 2 days ago because the wind was that intense. The microphone was picking everything up, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna scrap this. So yeah, let's leave it. So like I said, I'm going to strip down this one just before Christmas. I don't expect that many people to be tuning in because obviously people are going to be away. But I thought, you know, let's do this as a last video of the year, get together and strip down a nice watch. And yeah, like I said, the dial on this one, damn sexy. Really, really, really nice dial. Who else we got? Hey Matthew, glad to see you. Festive greetings to you as well, mate. Hope you're good. Oh, and guys, let me show you this as well. So I picked this up the other day. I put it up on my Instagram, but I know not all of you follow my Instagram, which is fine. Not everybody uses it. But look at this. I picked this up for a really low price, man. And I restored it. I've reloomed the complete movement. The complete dial. I did one on the channel a while ago, but I've never had one with this lavender kind of blue dial, man. Check this out. So I reloomed the loom plots as well with Swiss Super Luminova. Also the back of the hands as well. And oh man, and it is a proper sea lion. You got the sea lion on the back. What's the reference? 8306-1000. And I worked on one of these on the channel a few weeks ago for a subscriber. It's exactly the same watch, but his didn't have a day, but mine has the day and the date. So I'm in two minds about actually letting this one go because I think this will make a really nice summer watch. And guys, I've never seen one with the dial this color before. And when the lights are out and you can see I've done all of the loom plots, I did everything, also the hands as well underneath. And I'm really, really happy with how this came out. Like, nice ass watch, man. Really, really nice. So yeah. It was the pictures. It was on. Well, Elder will know. It was on Marktplaats, like really cheap. And the pictures were terrible. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a punt on it. It's not that much money. The guy's got to ship it to me. So I was like, why not, man? Let's do it. All right. You know what? Let's crack on with this. So I'm going to just open it up. Of course, you've got the typical gold leaf center on the back of these, which is really, really nice. Also in really good condition as well. And this guy just wants it servicing. That's it. So it shouldn't. I'm hoping that it's not going to be too complex, because the last thing I want at the end of the year is a big problem. But I think it's going to be okay. It does run. And he's had it for quite a long time, and he's had it serviced in the past as well, so he's had it looked after, which is always nice to see. And yeah, looks all right. Some wear, you can see some wear there to the plating. I mean, actually a lot. And I'm wondering, actually, when I look at this, I'm wondering now if the rotor is actually a little bit loose, and it's you see here. Look at this wear here, it's too convenient, you know what I mean? And I'm wondering if the rotor is scraping on that. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe it did in the past and he had a problem with it. Because it actually feels okay, like it's not dropping on me, you know what I mean? It feels okay. But it really looks like it's the rotor that has hit it, you know what I mean? So maybe he had a problem with it in the past, and the rotor was replaced, or the bearings were fixed, something like that. But to me, because of the positioning of this this wear, it does look like it's the rotor that's hit that. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know everything. So first thing, as always, what I do, you know, guys, like I will take off the rotor before removing it from the case, get it out of the way, especially if this rotor has had a problem in the past. I don't want it to have another problem. So I'm just going to unscrew it here. And then I can just put these to one side. So how's everybody's week been? Is everybody looking forward to the festive period? Is anybody going to be doing miles of driving and stuff like that? Man, that's what I usually do. Like a lot of driving, making sure to see everybody. Yeah, interesting. Look underneath, you know, there's not any wear underneath this. So I'm wondering if this entire rotor has been replaced at some point. Maybe the person will let me know. I'm not sure, but to me it kind of looks like that. Charon 1982, nice of you to stream a Grand Seiko, which is your favorite watches, by the way, on his birthday. Congratulations, man. Happy birthday to you. I don't know why you're exactly spending your birthday with me, but like, either way, props to you. Happy birthday. All right, so this should just pop out, and these are just, I don't like these, I'll be honest. I don't know why they don't have screws holding them in, but it is just what it is on these Seikos. The movement holder literally just comes out. So I'm going to pop that to one side as well. Then, of course, I can release. Let me just check that. Yeah, that bearing seems okay. I think this has been. I think the rotor has been replaced at some point, if I had to guess. All right, so let's remove the stem, the winding stem. Just a push pin on these, which is nice. Also, I want to check the gasket on this, which will get replaced. But I just want to see if there's any wear or anything like that. And it actually doesn't look too bad, man. You know, I mean, there's a bit of gunk and everything, obviously, but that's expected. But yeah, I mean, I can put a new one in there. That's no problem. Put that to one side, and then we'll flip this over. Really curious about this dial. And interestingly as well, the crystal, it's plexi. It's not a mineral crystal, so I can clean this up. The guy said that he wanted to have the crystal completely replaced, but when I first saw it, I said, hey, hang on a minute, man. I said, let me check it out first, because it might not be that bad. And I don't think it is that bad at all, actually. I really don't. So let me get my focus in and check here. Oh man, that's really, really nice. Focus it up for you guys as well. If it focuses, there you go. Man, what a strange, strange dial. Seriously, guys, look at this dial. It's like got some kind of like frosting on it or something. It's like a texture. It's really nice. Really nice. Got to take extra special care of this because I've not seen one of these before. Thank you. My birthday being so close to Christmas, I practically never have any party on the actual day. And at this stage, I've had enough of them to be happy at home on the PC. Good for you, bro. Happy you're here. So I'm just going to pop in this winding stem because I want to get this dial away from me as soon as possible. And I would highly recommend that as well for anybody else. But just before that, I just want to, I mean, I've already checked it anyway, but like, we'll check it for you guys. Like, the date mechanism is working as well, which is nice. We got snapovers on this. There's no quick set for the day. It will work with the 24 hour, which is expected. There is a hack, which is also good, and that's functioning. And then I just want to snap this over and get these hands aligned as well. I want to see if the date turns over as well. So I'm just going to whiz it round. Yeah, it's a really, really, really strange looking dial. And annoyingly, it's got those kind of hands which take forever to turn. Okay, so that snaps over nicely, and then the date should come. There we go. Perfect. Perfect, that's good. Okay, they're good enough for me like that. So because I have this rotor here, usually what I do is I just take the hands off in this position, but the rotor bearing is like quite a strange angle. So I'm going to just put it into a movement holder directly. Just want to also check where the balance is because I don't want to interfere with that, but it's actually really deep within it, so it's not a problem. And it has a plastic ring underneath the dial. Just aligning up these hands again as well. So I just want to get a piece of plastic. And I'm going to use a beefy one because I want to make sure that I protect this dial as much as possible. I am taking 0 chances, guys. I mean, seriously, this is one epic looking dial. Epic looking dial. Let me bring you in. And breathe. Nope. There you go. So the hands are off. Everything's looking good, which is nice. You guys are not in focus, of course, which sucks. And I don't understand why that's giving me some jip. Don't give me jip tonight, please. We're in a live situation. That is giving me some hassle. There we go. It's better. See, that's the thing when I've talked about it before. People don't appreciate exactly how it works when you're doing it live. And you get all these little problems with focusing, things like this. But obviously when you're pre-recording stuff, you can edit all of these things. So you get a lot of these guys that do these videos and they make it look, well, I mean, I do it myself, of course, as well, because nobody's going to sit there for 4 hours or something ridiculous watching somebody service a watch. It's just not realistic. So I'm just popping in the hands out of the way as well. And then I want to remove this dial as well. I picked up these really nice Omega dial cases. I got 3 of these last time I was at the Watch Expo. Really cheap as well. I think I literally paid like 10 bucks, which was ridiculously affordable. The guy wanted a little bit more at first, and I was like, come on, man. I said, well, you're asking too much, mate. I was not having any of that. But 10 euros for 3 of them. I think he had about 6, but I was like, 3's enough for me. Because I have some other ones as well, but I'm not going to just pay stupid money just because it's got Omega written on the top of it on a piece of plastic, man. Forget that. Hey, Trevor, nice that you're here. Don't worry about it. Yeah, man, it is. It's a super nice dial. That dial is mad fresh, man. Check it out. Quite jealous of it, I'm not going to lie. And I literally am paranoid because the condition of it is absolutely immaculate. So I want to get this thing away from me as soon as possible, guys. Beautiful, beautiful dial. So just using a piece of plastic underneath it because I've got the date as well and I don't want to scratch anything. And just trying to coax it up out of its dial feet holes. There we go. And then I'm going to freak Andy out now because he hates it when I, for some reason, when I use plastic tweezers on the dial, he doesn't like it. I don't know why. And I thought it was out, but it's not. It's still a little bit caught in that hole. There we go. And I will feel so much better when this is gone. There we go. So I can put this in here, nice and out of the way. Ah, thank God. Seriously. And then of course we're left with the movement. So typical day date. Yeah, man, it does give me stress. Of course, have you seen the quality of that dial? Can you imagine scratching it? Oh man, I'd be mortified. It would be an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. So now I remember these. It's been a while since I've done on one of these 8706 things, but you have this little C-clip here. So obviously I need to nudge this out of the way. And the last thing you also want with one of these is it to fly. So what I usually do is I'll usually just use a little bit of Rodico just on the back of it from where I'm going to push it away, because these things fly. They do fly, 100%. And I want to see if I can just pop it out. Yeah, it's easy. It's an easy one, thankfully. But of course, the last thing you want is it to fly across the room, which would suck. So yeah. But once he's out of the way, then I can obviously just pop it into the parts box. So what are you guys doing over Christmas? People traveling, let me know in the comments. I'm curious what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be eating. Oh, thank you, Eric. You didn't have to give me that, but I super appreciate that. Thank you very much for the tip. Happy holidays. Oh, PS, show the palette fork. I will show the palette fork. Don't worry, my bro. It will get dropped later on. You're well ahead of time, so you have nothing to worry about in regards to that. So I just want to find out where... Oh, I see it. There it is. So I want to move that little lever so that I can release this safely, but it's not in proper alignment for me yet. So I'm just basically going to move this around for the date so that I can get more of an angle on that lever for when it changes. There we go. So now I have more access in this whole area, you see, because this I need to move out of the way so that I can pull it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully push the lever out of the way, because obviously it's held under tension by a spring. And then I should be able to just pop underneath somewhere. I might need to use, oh no, there we go, we got it. We got it. Sometimes they can be really, really hard. And they're so thin. That's the other problem with these guys. These things, these date discs. See, my tweezers are not even gripping it properly because it's that thin. I mean, that's how thin we're talking about. It's ridiculous. So I'm also going to pop that to one side. And then, of course, we're left with the top of this. So I want to also remove this plastic holder. Pop that just to one side. Also pop him over to one side. And then I can sort out my positioning. Now, I'm going to start on the dial first. And the reason being is because I want to do this because I want two reasons. I always say about the balance and everything and remove it, but at the end of the day, the balance is completely safe. So I'm not worried about knocking it or anything like that, purely because it's completely underneath the movement. So I'm not going to do anything. But at the same time, I want to get rid of this date disc, and I also want to get rid of the cannon pinion as well, because I'm not going to be able to remove that center wheel without removing the cannon pinion, I think, on this, because I do think it has a fixed, maybe I'm wrong, I can't remember, so maybe you guys can correct me, but normally you have a fixed cannon pinion. But it's been a while since I've worked on this movement, so I'm going as I go. So obviously you got this big plate on top and everything, which is holding this date disc. Condition's pretty good. There's a few like scratches here you can see just along this edge. But yeah, overall the condition's pretty good. So as you can see as well, it is one large bridge. So you got one screw, two, three screws, and I have a feeling that that's going to be for underneath. So I'm not going to pop that just yet. I am going to use a piece of plastic just in case this is going to basically fly on me. Because there are going to be springs underneath this, especially for the date change, I should imagine. So I just want to make sure that I don't just lift it all the way up straight away without holding it down. So let's try, is it still held on under with that screw? Yes, I think it still is. So I wasn't sure, because sometimes you get these screws which are actually not connected to the bridge and it's just for underneath. But by the looks of things, this one actually is. And it also looks like it's the same type of screw, so that's also good to know. And then I can carefully move it out of the way. Also being really careful because this is so thin that I don't want to prang it. And I also don't want to prang that date disc. There we go. And you can see that there was a wheel underneath, which has just dropped off. Which I will obviously figure out later, but I believe it's in conjunction with this change. And I can put this all to one side. I said it before on the channel as well with these Grand Seikos. I do find them a little bit over-engineered for the whole keyless work, with extra bridges and little plates holding things together that you can tell that they've changed over the years, where they've had like a problem. So instead of redesigning it, they just create what I assume is like a fix. And it's almost like an update. If you imagine like an update on your phone, same kind of thing. This I like though. I like the way that the spring and the date lever is all one piece. So I do like that. That's quite cool. So I just want to remove the tension off of this as well, because obviously it will fly if I don't. And nice to see as well that it just sits on a nice little post. So that's really cool that it's just one piece, you know, no messing around with that. Fresh. And yeah, I can pop off my whole date now, which is nice. So I can just nip him up and then just out of the way. And then I can also put him to one side as well with the day disc. Yeah. You see, this is why. So that extra screw, it was holding down this little plate, which covers the minute wheel as well, you see. It's interesting. A little bit of oil, nothing serious. But as I said, it has been serviced in the past, this. Don't know when it was, but it has been serviced in the past, yeah, 100%. The guy obviously likes it very much, you know, and he's looked after it over the years, which is always really nice to know. So obviously we have a lever here for this, so I'm just going to remove it before I take off the hour wheel. the screw to one side, and I see a spring, but I think it's all part of it. Yeah, it is, yeah, which is fine. So I'm not going to mess with that whatsoever. I would advise also the same. If you have things like this where they're together, it's not supposed to come off, so don't mess with it, basically. I'm just going to grab it from this side here. There you go. Condition's really nice though. The only thing that so far that we've seen is that rotor wear, so to speak. But I have a really sneaky feeling that the rotor has been replaced at some point. I really, really do. Our wheel looks good as well. Not seeing anything worn there, which is nice. I can take off the cannon pinion now as well. So I strongly advise using a proper cannon pinion remover for these guys. These are quite affordable. I think these are around 50-60 euros. They're really similar to the Presto tool, but as you can see, they don't have the middle piece. So I have three. So here's a standard one, which you would remove your hands with, because you've got the center plunger, which is going to press on the sweeper. The cannon pinion one doesn't have it. And it's important as well that you don't use this one to try and take off a cannon pinion, because you do run the risk of damaging the pinion underneath. You do 100%. I've done it myself. Trust me, it happens. So get the real deal. And then of course, the last Presto tool that I have is this one with a blue one. So this one's the green one. The other one for the hands is black. And then you've got the blue one. And this is for, you've seen me use this. This one is the most expensive one, and also the one that you will use the least. Typical, no? And this has got special little 3 teeth in it at the top, you can see. And this is for the driving wheels on predominantly chronographs, but you do have it on some, I have seen it on some hand wind movements and automatics as well, that you have a driving wheel which is fixed on a pinion, and then you can use this to safely remove it like in an upwards position. Because if you try and do it just like with your tweezers or something, you're going to bend the pinion, and it's, yeah, it's a nightmare. You don't want that. That sucks. So I'm just finding the best place for me to rest my cannon pinion feet for taking off this, and here looks pretty good. So just grip it up and pull it up in a straight fashion, and yeah, it's done. It's really easy. Cannon pinion looks good. The condition looks really nice actually. I'm really happy with this condition of this movement, which means that I don't suspect that it's going to give me a lot of hassle. Oh, hang on. Wait a minute. I am seeing something which is a bit weird. Oh no. Check out this. So my first reaction was, hey, where's the post? The post. But the post is actually fixed on to the minute wheel itself. Because at first when I took it off, I thought, oh shit, where's the post? Is the post broken at some point? But it's not. You can see it. It's actually connected onto the minute wheel like a fixed post. That's pretty cool. All right, so as far as I'm concerned now, I'm done on this side now. So this is my point where I'd switch it over. One last thing that I would advise though is nip up your dial feed screws. And the reason being is you've loosened them to remove your dial. But the problem is, if you leave them a little bit too undone, you might find that you'll lose them in your cleaning machine. Which is not, okay, it's not the end of the world because they can only run away so far. But yeah, you don't want to be delving your hands or whatever trying to fish out a tiny little screw. You know, you really don't want that. So I would say just nip them up a little bit. You don't have to go crazy tight, but nip them up a little bit, and then they're not going to come and run away from you. So by doing it this way, like I said, I've already removed that cannon pinion, so that's out of the way, so the train of wheels will come off freely. My balance was completely safe, even though I do recommend like removing the balance as soon as possible. But in this case, it's not a big deal because you've had it underneath and it's been protected anyway. So one could argue, you know, is there any point in that? No, I think it's completely fine because how would you jam it with a screwdriver when it's completely upside down? It's not going to happen. So I am going to remove the balance now. Nice movement. Looks pretty fresh. I do want to just see if I can get a little bit of extra focus for you guys, because if you feel it's out of focus, please let me know, but I think it's okay. So one thing I do want to check is, now I haven't put any wind into this watch, but there is obviously some wind in it because it's running. So I want to know if I can remove the wind from it now, or am I going to have to remove the automatic works first? Because a lot of the time you do have to remove the automatic works first before you can unwind it. So we'll see. Yeah, and as you can see, because it locks basically. If I move the click, nothing's happening. Look, it doesn't unwind. So obviously you have to remove the automatic module first. But I do want to remove this, complete balance first. I know it doesn't have a lot of charge in it. It's basically just a little bit of charge from me shaking the watch a little bit before we started the video, because I wanted to see if it was running or not. So I know that when we go to unwind this thing, it's not going to unwind a hell of a lot, you'll see. So gently just lift this away from you so that you can remove it, and then get a grip on it with your tweezers so that you can pull it out. And as I've mentioned so many times, guys, the balance is the most delicate part of the watch. The good thing is, with it being a high beat, as you can see, it doesn't have a very springy main balance spring. It's very tight, you know. When it's like running at like 18,000 beats per hour, it hangs a lot lower. So these are a lot more forgiving, let's say, when you're handling them. I mean, you should handle them as little as possible, obviously. But the point of it is they're a lot more forgiving with like flipping them over, placing them down, etc. So I mean, with this, I can just flip it over and there you go. You see, it just springs straight. It wants to go where it lives, straight into the jewel. So I'm literally going to just put that over there, out of the way, also with the screw. And then at the end, I can pop him back on. So now I'm going to remove the automatic module. Now here it's a case of remembering which are the screws for this. Now at a guess, I would say not this, because this is the screw for the ratchet wheel. You can also see that there's a big hole. So obviously there's no need for that. This here, here, here and here. So I believe it's these three screws. So again, good size screwdriver. And again, just to be safe, I am also just going to use a little piece of plastic on the top. Because I cannot remember off the top of my head how it is underneath, and I don't want a spring, if there is some kind of spring for the automatic module, jumping out at me, because that would not be cool. No, sir. And also, I need to make sure that I am 100% correct with it being 3 screws. And I think it is. Yeah, it's fine. There isn't anything to worry about. Yeah. Very nice, very clean. Big reversing wheel, a lot of dried grease on that though, you can see. And you can see how the claw grips into it, so it locks it in place, which is really clever. I really like that. I will also dismantle this completely. In fact, we'll do that now. Also, you know, when you're organizing things in your tray, especially with your screws, things like that, people ask me sometimes like, oh, you know, what's the best place to put these? And I would say, organize your tray. So like for me, example, I've got like my trainer wheels section, I will have my keyless works section, and this like a little section in it I'm going to have just for the automatic works. And what I'm going to do as well for this, I'm going to put it on like a staking block, and the reason being is because obviously we've got a raised area here. So I'm going to use a hole, and then if I do that, find a hole that fits. And then of course it lies flush. And the reason you want that is because I'm going to have to unscrew it. And I don't want to damage the rotor bearings underneath. So we can see 2 screws here. Again, I'm just going to hold that in place there, and then I can just pop off these 2 screws. which holds this entire plate in place. And I can also put these to one side as well. Let's also do that now. So also what I do is with my screws, when I put them into my parts box, I put them in corners, for example, where this is going to go. And another thing somebody asked me, and I do this also sometimes, I mean, it depends how familiar I am with the movement. With this movement, I'm not super familiar with it like the back of my hand. Like a Valjoux 72, for example, I mean, I know that like the back of my hand. This one I don't. So what I would do is, before I take everything out and put it into the cleaning machine, I'll just take a photograph, like an overview photograph of the parts in the box, so that when I bring everything out of the cleaning machine, I know where everything lives, basically. Now this you have to be really careful with, because as you can see here, you're talking about really, really small arms. I just want to lip that off. Now it should come away. There you go. And there's a lot of grease on this, a lot of dried grease. Not the end of the world, obviously, but it'll all get cleaned anyway. And the condition's good, guys. It's really good. I'm happy. When the condition is good, it means that my life is not going to be miserable, which is super fresh. Very happy about that. What's everybody saying? How do you know how to tight? How do you know how to tight to screw down things? I'm assuming you're asking me how tight do you screw things down. That's a really good question. And if I'm honest with you, I don't have a logical answer for you. It's basically something that you just get used to the feel. What I would say is when you get to the point where you're tightening it and you feel the resistance, directly stop. I'm more used to it now, so I know I could push it maybe that little bit further, let's say, you know, but if you push it too much, and you really can very easily, you will shear the head off the screw, and then of course you've got to drill it out, or you've got to get acid to eat it out, and you don't want that. So it really is a feel of touch. It is, guys. So I'm going to let down the wind from the watch, pull back the click, and then I can let the crown run through my fingers. If I can nip it here, there we go. And as you can see, there was next to nothing. There was nothing. There we go, it's done. Right. So this is obviously going to be coming up for Eric, because the man is obsessed with palette forks for some reason. Which is fine. Man, look at the size of the screws though for this pallet bridge. Big ass screw. These screws are just as big, or if not bigger, as the train bridge screws. Huge. But yeah, you do have to be careful with when you're tightening screws down. Like I said, just when you get resistance, stop. It's not like you're putting on the wheel of a car, basically. No, sir. So you do have to be a lot more gentle. But again, it's something that just comes just comes with practice, man. So there's still some charge in the watch. Maybe I wound it off a little bit too much, but there is some. Also, we've got a very sticky pallet fork, because you can see that it's stuck into the bridge, which is not a big problem, but really, when you think about it, considering that you don't oil that, it shouldn't be very sticky anyway. It's come away. Let's just have a quick look at this. And there you go. There's your €2.49 tip, pallet fork, showdown, Christmas special in manual held focus. Trying my best. Yeah, you can see a sticky pivot, but it doesn't look insanely bad. Obviously, it's going to clean up pretty good. But the pallet fork jewels look pretty good. Cool. And then of course I can remove the bridge out of the way. Let's have a look at that jewel. Yeah, it's fine. It's just dirty. Yeah, you're right actually, Elder. I just remembered that. Some of them do, some of them don't. And also, which I also find weird, a lot of Seikos, you oil both palette stones, not just one. So this is nice and free, which is good. A little delay, but it's not intense. Okay, so next I'm going to take off the ratchet wheel. Use a slightly bigger screwdriver on this actually. Usually I use just 2 screwdrivers, you find with most watches. Two is enough. Like I think the 1mm and the 1.2. So off goes the ratchet wheel. And another thing that I really do like about these Grand Seikos, which I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, everything is jeweled, man. Everything is jeweled, which is good because that obviously limits the amount of wear. So for example here, we're jeweled, so we don't have any play. You know what I mean? Because it's jeweled, there's no metal on metal, so it's not wearing away over the years, which is really nice. I never learned that. Yep, both stones too. Yeah, it is like that on some of them for some reason. And again, I have no idea why. I think it's probably, well, if I had to make an educated guess, I suppose it's to do with the frequency rate because it's going that quick. So the crown wheel, if I remember rightly with these actually, the crown wheel is fixed to the train of wheel and I think it's riveted on. I'm not sure entirely. Again, like I said, it's been a while since I've worked on one, but I do think it's riveted on, but we will check. So I'm going to take off the click, held on with the 1 screw, and because it's also another thing that I do like about these, I like these long fixed clicks with no spring that's going to fly across the room, because this is not going to fly across the room when you unscrew it, which is awesome. That's really nice. And actually what I'm going to do with this one, because it's just here, I'm going to pop the screw back in for this one. Another tip as well, when you're putting screws back in, I don't know if you can see it on the other camera, the way that I do it, no, you're not going to see it. You put your finger on the top as normal, and then obviously in one hand, but what I do is I use this, let me show you on this camera. So I use this finger as like a support to rest upon. If you can imagine, like I'm screwing something here back in, and I will use this finger here just to as an extra support onto the screwdriver. It just makes things a lot easier, because some people say, oh, like your hands are so steady. And my hands are quite steady, but when you put in a screw back in, and it's more fragile, as you can see with this one, you don't want to slip on it, because obviously you don't want to scratch it. So if you use your finger, your index finger on your other hand, you can actually, it gives like a lot more support, makes life a lot easier for you. So unscrew the train of wheels, probably 3 screws. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 3 screws. This one is tight. Might get a bigger screwdriver in that, but I'm not sure if the thread is going to be too thick. That's good. And I have my washing machine on in the background, guys. I am behind 2 closed doors, so you're probably not going to hear it. So my apologies if you do. Just trying to get some Christmas washing in, you know, just before. Oh man, I went to the supermarket today as well, and it was busy. Everybody getting their last bits in. Oh yeah, another tip. When you do something, say when you're taking off a bridge, like for the first time, say you're not familiar with the movement, you're taking it off for the first time, don't just remove all your screws and then move on. Take your screws off and have a look at your screws, because it's not uncommon that some movements will have different threaded screws depending on the location. Here you can see they're all the same, so we're good to go, but just bear it in mind that sometimes you can have different lengths of screws, and then you're going to mix them up, and then what's going to happen is you'll probably find that they'll screw in fine, but the tail end of your screw is going to be hitting on something, probably like the date disc. Then it's going to cause drag, and then you're going to be like, oh, why is my date not turning? You know, things like this. So you really need to, I mean, for me it gets like habit, you know, but like things like that I think are a good tip for you guys. Because it's not uncommon at all that some screws can be different sizes on one part. What's everybody saying? Peter Campbell, do not open, you've already spotted it. Man, you've already overtaken my video with that, do not open. You can use tweezers to steady as well. Yeah, of course, yeah, you can use your tweezers as well, but I really think your finger is enough. And then if you're using tweezers, which, I mean, it's okay, but then you're having to use you're having to pick up another item, which takes nanoseconds, which those add up into seconds and minutes, etc. What is the price for service in this type of watch? I don't know, man, it's different for everybody. And certainly not something that I'm going to just say, you know. I mean, I don't know what Seiko charge for this kind of thing. I've got no idea. And I can't speak for anyone else. Okay, so I'm just going to remove the train of wheels. A little bit of a sticky jewel over the arbor, but we got it. And then underneath, yeah, there's some oil, not insane, but as you can see, that that crown wheel, it's riveted on. I remember this now. So obviously that's just going to be left. I'm not doing anything with that. That's fine. Condition's decent as well. Put that to one side. And then of course underneath you got the train of wheels here, and then this piece here in brass is the hack. So obviously when you're pulling out the crown, which connects to the winding stem, and then the sliding pinion here, it's going to move this really thin. You really have to be careful with these. I've damaged one of these before, and they're a pain in the ass if you damage it, because trying to bend it into the right positions, yeah, you can bend it and manipulate it easy, but it's not easy to get it exactly how it was. And this obviously stops the watch from moving. Sometimes they hit the balance wheel. On this one, as far as I can see, it looks like it's going to hit the escape wheel. I think, yeah, it's, I believe it's going to hit the, yeah, it will, it'll hit the, yeah, because obviously the balance is over here, it's not that long. So it hits the teeth of the escape wheel and stops it that way. Some hit the balance wheel, but in this one it's the escape wheel. And then of course we have the do not open, in English, not Japanese, on the barrel bridge. Sorry, my mind just went blank, man. I think I need a beer. Hang on. And it's funny as well with this, because I'm not going to open it, but I do know that you can open them. Because I did it on a video, and I researched it, and a lot of people who work on these, a hell of a lot more than me, they said that you can actually open them. The question is, why does it say that you cannot? Because the principle of it, it's exactly the same. And you would close it once you fit a mainspring in exactly the same way. It's, yeah, I don't know why. I'm assuming that it goes back to the servicing days, and probably when these came in for service with Seiko, they'd literally just replace the whole arbor with the mainspring inside the mainspring barrel, and they'd literally just put a brand new one in. That's what I'm assuming would happen. Do not open. Okay, so let's remove the trainer wheels, and again we're seeing everything jeweled, really nice, which is cool. A little bit dirty, but nothing insane, which is good, because we don't want that. And what I do notice with these, if you've probably seen it when I've worked on the Enica ones as well, it's really similar. It's really similar layout to the Enica setup, where the way that you get this additional little bridge, it's exactly the same. Again, a little dirty, but nothing heavy at all. This watch has definitely been cared for. And of course, here we have the hack, so I'm going to remove the hack now because it's over covering the escape wheel. And I just want to be really careful with it because, like I said, guys, it's such a thin, what you call it, piece of brass that you need to be really careful. And I don't want to bend it. There you go. Very thin, very delicate. I have to take care of it. Don't want to mess it up. YouTube is going mad. Anyone else getting adverts? YouTube seems to have started servicing them on live streams. Yes, I have noticed that, and there is absolutely nothing I can do about it. I will be completely honest with you. When I set up the live stream, it gives an option in regards to the monetization, which obviously I'm going to do. I'm not going to lie. And then it basically says that you can set up your own time frames for advertisements, which I don't do because I don't want to use the amount that they do. And then the only other option is that it bases it on their recommendations. So I apologize in advance, guys, if they are banging out some quick adverts. Obviously just click them away after 5 seconds. So just removing the complete barrel. I'm not going to open this now. And I might not open it at all. It depends because, yeah. I'm going to think about it with this one, but I'm not going to do it now. Sorry to disappoint, but it's not going to happen. I'm going to take out the escape wheel as well, carefully. I've got enough room to slide this out of the way, which is fine. Again, a little dirty, but it's not, yeah, it's not bad. Nobody but mom tells you what to do. Open it. No, I'm not opening it. Man thinks he's going to peer pressure me, Trevor. It's not going to happen. So I call this a bridge, but it's obviously not. It's like a cock because there's only the one screw. The mainspring police may be watching. Oh, do you know what I had a comment yesterday? Some guy dropped a comment on one of my videos and I was super pissed when I read it. And I didn't allow it. I thought, no, man, it actually annoyed me, but it made me laugh at the same time. He goes, oh, I suppose you're one of those, it was something like, I suppose you're one of those copy channels from the expert wristwatch revival. I thought it was funny. No offense to wristwatch revival, of course, but I don't see myself as a copy channel. But it was very arrogant the way that he said it. I thought, you cheeky bastard. So off comes that cock. And again, guys, look, jeweled. Jewels everywhere. And I would not be surprised in the slide if there's another jewel underneath this. There will be. 99.9% positive that there's going to be another jewel. Yeah, there we go. And this is exactly what I want to see, because these kind of things mean it's a high quality movement. It's not being scrimped on. Because also you get a lot of movements where they say like, oh, it's 30 joules or it's 36 joules, you know. But the joules are all in stupid places, which are completely irrelevant, or they don't bring any benefit to the watch or the quality of how the watch is going to run or anything like that. But here, these are definitely adding great beneficial value to the watch by having a jewel for the center wheel, by having it for the arbor here, because you're not going to have metal on metal. It's going to reduce any kind of play, and then from a servicing point of view, it minimizes cost, it minimizes time, and the wear is obviously minimized as well, which is really good. And it's a good sign of absolute quality. Again, going back to this issue, this to me, again, I will have to check, but this to me 100% looks like the rotor at some point has damaged this and it's worn on it, because it's not worn on the underside of the rotor, and to the best of what I think anyway, it's exactly the same material. So we completely fully stripped that down, so now I can turn it over, and the only thing I need to do is basically just remove the keyless works and that quick set date mechanism, and then we're nearly there. And then I can have a beer. Yeah, and some food. What's everybody saying? Research Survival did a chronograph in his latest videos. Yeah, I did see that. I briefly watched it, and I wish he'd removed all of his springs from his chronograph and not messed with his eccentric screws, but I'm not going to get into it. Sorry if this is out of place. I have an opportunity to pick up an Enica Sherpa 320 in stainless. It's the 167 caliber for $100. It is running. Thoughts? $100? Yeah, man. It's a 167. It's a Sherpa 320. So that's the one with the only thing I would say. I know which one it is. It's the one with the. It has like a bit of an oval shaped a glass to it, crystal. Sorry. The only thing that I would say in regards to that watch is from a movement perspective, parts are really interchangeable, which is fine. But what you need to watch out for is your crystal. If your crystal is completely mashed, there's a high probability that you're just going to have to live with it. Because I've never, and I am the Enica dude, I've never come across a replacement crystal for those. And they're also mineral crystals as well, if memory serves, which also makes it more of a sucky thing for you, because when they're scratched, yeah, you can't do shit. You have to replace it. If it's a plexi, you could clean it up, but I'm pretty sure they're mineral. And I've never found any replacement crystals for that model. Other than that, $100, of course, man. Yeah, definitely go for it. Send me the link. I will get on my bank details right now. No, I'm jokes. But yeah, by all means, go for it. This is what I'm talking about here. It's going about those like weird little bridges and plates you get. How out of place this looks, you know? It looks like they just slapped it on. Like, oh, it's probably they needed to have a bit more weight onto it or something, because it was, you know, maybe not, it was not holding in place. I don't know. But yeah, it just looks a bit, it just looks a bit out of place. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Just my opinion. No, seriously, all jokes aside, mate, $100, you can't go wrong at that. I mean, it's not a lot of money for a lot of watch. See, look, also the way that this look, it just moved as soon as I put the screwdriver in to loosen the screw. So this to me looks like upgrade. That's what it looks like. Let me get my screw. Looks like an upgraded part that they've added on. I mean, which is fine, but yeah. Now this, I'm looking for the spring. Where's my spring? Now here, let's go deep. So you can see this date changer. It also works as an intermediate wheel as well to connect to the minute wheel, and it looks, by the looks of things, the end of it has an additional metal piece which is going underneath the set-in lever spring. So I'm going to need to remove this first before I can remove this, I believe. And because of course we've got a spring underneath, guys, just use something. It might be fine, but it saves something from flying across the room, and the last thing you want is for that to happen on a live stream, because that's not sexy. No sir, it's not. And these screws are really tight. They were really, really tight. So again, 2 screws, pretty sure they'll be the same, but I want to just double check, you know, like I'd mentioned before. They are, you can see they're the same, so that's fine. And also this set-in lever spring, you can see that it also works as a tension one, because it's a quick release one. There's no screw. There we go. A little bit of over grease, but yeah, nothing to worry about at all. Yeah, exactly right, Elder man. Clean watch, no crazy things. Happy days. Definitely happy days. So I got my yoke spring here, just using a little bit of plastic to keep it in place because it will fly, as you can see. And then I can pop that out of the way. And then I can remove this date changer. And you can see how it had this, obviously, which is holding it in place and keeping it more secure underneath the setting lever spring. And then again, that just pops up. And then you'll see the intermediate wheel underneath as well, which connects to the minute wheel. There you go. See it? And I'm going to leave this all on. It's open. It will get cleaned very well, so I'm not concerned at all. Then I can remove the yoke. Looks good. And then the setting lever, and again, look, it's a push version, not a screw. I much prefer these, if I'm honest, because they're less fiddly. The screw ones are a bit of a pain, especially when you're building the watch back up, because it's the first thing you're going to need to do. What are the comments saying? Yeah, I saw that, and he was nervous as hell. Especially when you do watchmaking for a living, Watchmaker Revival doesn't. The only problem that I have with it is, like I said, when I observed it, my problem with it is 90% of the people that watch it treat what he's doing as gospel, factual, 100% accurate, and then they're copying what he's doing, thinking they're doing it right. And I'm sorry, but when you're taking a chronograph apart, you have to remove the tension from the springs and everything first, otherwise the part's going to fly. And I did briefly watch a little bit of it, and props to him for doing it. I think it's good he does it. But yeah, it's the educational part where I don't like, because 90% of those people in the comments, they think that that's perfectly the way to do it. But I ain't hating. No. No, sir. I'm not. So, winding pinion, sliding pinion. Get these off. Little bit of wear. Not insane. It's actually probably grease more than anything. Yeah, it's grease because it's stuck to my tweezers. Kevin, how much roughly should it cost to service the Tag Heuer 1, as it's hard to find a watch servicer in northeast UK and prices vary a lot. If you're asking me, you just need to email me, bro, and send me some photographs of the watch. If you're wanting somebody specifically to do it in the UK, I might know someone that can help you. So I'm flipping over the main plate, and I may as well do this while I'm on this video now, because we've only been going on for an hour, and I'll wrap it up soon enough. Let me get a piece of pegwood, guys. I'm gonna get a new piece. You know, usually I do these down to a nub. So another thing as well with these pegwoods, man, like I always, they come rounded, and I will just shave off onto my floor because I vacuum every day. I just want to make it into a point, so it's basically like sharpening a pencil. And I want to make just like a sharp kind of point so that I can get into my jewels. Because I cannot stress it enough, guys. Peg the shit out of your jewels. Don't be lazy. And very simply, you're just going in with some nice pegwood, getting into those jewels. Your pegwood is really soft, so it will crush up against the jewel and help clean it as well, which is fine. And of course, when you blunt it off, you can just resharpen it, so it's no big stress. But it really is important to do this, guys. It'll also help your cleaning machine. Even though this is not really a dirty, really dirty watch, there is some, obviously, some old oil, obviously. Elder, what's going on? It's his voice that draws people in and his past. You're saying that I don't have a sexy voice, bro? Is this what you're saying? You told me that you loved my voice. I don't like this. I don't like where this is going. So also just clean it off with some Rodico as well. And then you can flip it over and do the other side. Real simple. You can see that some of them as well have got clips, but I will deal with that later. Also here as well, you've got a lot of dried up grease from the keyless, which I'm going to remove as well. No stress. But overall, the watch is a pretty decent condition, man. I mean, there's some wear, but it's not insane. And especially like the wheels, I will look under the microscope really clearly. But my impressions from this are that this has been a really looked after watch. I think the guy said he's owned it since new. I think, maybe I'm wrong. But, oh, wait a minute. No, that's fine. For a minute, I thought it should have had another C-clip there, but sorry, clip, but it's not, which is fine. Peg those jewels, peg them. He's like a bad airline pilot. They all have that voice. What voice? I could try that. Thank you for flying with Horology Biology Airlines. We are currently cruising at 40,000 feet. If you look to your left, you will see pallet stones. If you look to the right, you will see the train of wheels. And this is how we roll it. Don't forget to tune in next week on Horology Biology FM. No, I couldn't keep that up for an entire video. Sorry guys, hate to break it to you. I just like having a laugh with you guys. That's what it's all about, man. I stressed it from the beginning on this channel, man. It's no snobbery, man, only the comedy. That's what it's about. It's just nice watches, all different kinds of watches, take it apart, cleaning, good banter, good conversation, that kind of thing, man. That's what's important, man. Let's pop on this balance. Come on, come to Pappy. Getting them on, off is easy, but getting these on sometimes can be a little bit problematic because the spring is so small, so you cannot see all the time exactly that it's going into the jewel. But we got there in the end. What else was I saying? Elder says, I love your camera, you know that. Yeah, I know you like watching me, bro. I know, I see you. And then he says, oh my God, stop it. But let's do it how he's really doing it. Oh my God, stop it. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Oh, Cedar. Cedar, is it Cedar? Cedar Canoe? I own a 6145-8000, date 36,000 BPH. Are the 6145 and the 6146 similar? I'm not 100% a Seiko guy, but from a logical aspect, I would say that the 6145 is probably a day date and the 6146 is like a day date, and the other one is just a date, if you know what I mean. But I'm pretty sure that will be the same movement. It'll just be that small complication which will make that number a little bit different. So just tightening up the screw. I like the conversation that Tom and Matthew are having. What the fuck is that? Trevor, you know that we had a bit of a rough flight there because we clipped that mountain, but it's all clear now. Smooth sailing from now on. So your balance is back on. Make sure that you put the balance back on. I've said it before, guys. It's the easiest way to clean it. It's back where it lives. As Bob Ross used to say, it's back in its home. And it'll just make it easier when you run it through your cleaning machine. And also when you come to bring it out and you're taking off your jewels to oil the capstones and give them an extra clean, it just makes it a lot easier for you. So I will show you what I have here. And then, so my layout, so I laid my wheels there. And then of course we got the rest of things. And it's just a lot easier just to be organized like this, guys. Don't just bang things everywhere, you know. You can just organize things a hell of a lot easier this way. That's a better picture. And as it's not a really super complicated watch, you know, you don't need to have 2 parts trays. That's another thing, like if you're doing a chronograph, don't feel that you have to bang everything into one parts tray. Just if you got more than one, use another one, you know. It's not a big problem. So I'm gonna just lay him just there, which is fine. Now for the case, I do want to clean this crystal at some point. And I'll do it over the Christmas period. The 2 things that I just want to do is I want to also put that plastic dial movement holder away. And then I want to take off the crystal for this as well. Now, like I mentioned, it's a plexi crystal. And I believe that I can clean this up. I've said it before, when it comes to plexis, as long as there's no cracks, then you can clean that up and make it look like new. You know, I had another guy, actually, yeah, another guy in the comments. I did a video ages ago about like doing this with crystals, you know, restoring plexiglass crystals. And he sent me a message, man, clearly called me a liar. He said, it's not possible, you can't do it, it's impossible, you're lying, you're just doing this for views. I'm like, I'm not, man. If it's a plexiglass crystal, you can use wet and dry sandpaper and you can make it look like brand new. It's not impossible at all. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease and it takes a little bit of time. But not all the time it's practical to replace things. If you have an opportunity to restore something without replacing it, then go for that. I think it's a better option. But I will need to take off this, bezel retainer, this bezel around, because it will be holding this crystal in place. So if I try and bash out this crystal from underneath, it's going to snap. Now you can see here, you're probably not going to see it, but there is a small indent here where I can get a knife in. And I don't want to scratch it, so I'm not sure if you're going to see this as good as I can, so I apologize in advance. But I don't want to take a risk, you know what I mean? I don't want to slip because the case is pretty good. I've got it. There you go. And then also underneath, there is a lot of grime. It's not intense, but I mean, it's good that you do this so that you can give it a proper clean. And then here as well. Now for this, oh, look at all that man cheese. It's disgusting. The easiest way is just to use pegwood. Oh man. I feel ill. Oh, I'm not doing that now. And then the crystal should just pop now, actually. Let's see. There we go. Nice and easy. It has a crystal ring underneath as well, which I will also take out because I want to wash that as well. And usually you can just, with a piece of plastic, just get on the edge of it and then just pop it. If it doesn't come, don't force it. It will go, but I don't want to damage it. No, there's a little bit of an annoying bevel, so I think I'm going to leave it. But at some point I am going to have to pull it, because if I clean this up from the inside as well and polish it, what's going to happen is the little dust and crust, it's going to live in this corner, and I need access to this. But it should in theory pop off. I mean, it is just a... The problem is there's not much for me to grab hold of. That's the problem, because it bevels towards the inside, on the inside of it, so I can't really get a good angle, which is annoying. And it's pretty tight. No, I'll do it off camera. I don't want to force it like this. So there's quite a bit of man cheese. It's not intense. These are the parts we're looking at. So I got the case, I got the crystal, the bezel retainer ring. There's also a gasket on this as well, which will get replaced. So I'm going to remove this one as well, which should come off pretty easy. Oh, it's really hard, actually. This one has hardened off. Oh, there we go, got it. But it has hardened. So I'm wondering how long ago this watch was actually serviced now. Because I see oil, like grease almost, unless, of course, the person that serviced it last time never actually... Because there's... look, you can see it. It's wet, and it's not water. It's silicone grease. But this gasket is ruined. It's rock solid. It's an original rock solid gasket, because it's that old. And I am really thinking that I'm suspecting, without trying to sound negative on anyone, but the person that serviced this last time did not replace this gasket, because this gasket is like, it's rock. Look, it's just broken away. There's not, look, I can break it in bits. This is not how a gasket should be, guys. Not waterproof. A little bit of corrosion here, a little bit, not much, just a little. But I will pop a new gasket on this anyway. But very interesting to see that the gasket is greased, but rock solid. So I don't believe it was changed at service last time. Okay. Quick check on the last questions, guys, because I'm going to wrap it up. Peter says, some acrylic crystals form little crazy lines that won't polish out. I disagree. And the reason I'm saying I disagree on that is if you start with a higher grade sandpaper and just start working your way all the way up to like the 1200s, 1300s, you're going to get it out. And then polywatch it on top of that as well. I've had them looking like, looking like new. So but it's not something that will take you 5 minutes. You're going to have to spend a good like 35, 40 minutes on it. It's not going to happen in 5 minutes. But if it's a plexi, yeah, you'll get rid of those little lines. Those little scratches, sorry. If you're just using polywatch on its own, then yeah, they will stay there. But so you will have to do the sandpaper treatment, because you're going to remove you're basically just going to remove a layer. Like Tom says though, if you're talking about that stuff that looks like webbing, the crystal, it's over for that. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. The whole thing's over. So then it will need to be replaced, because that's different. That's like what Tom mentions, like UV damage, like the sun. It's just hardened and cracked, and it's like a webbing pattern. So Matthew is saying, so flipping a coin, Mad HB or Dungeons and Dragons is going to be Horology Biology all the way. I should damn hope so, man, going after your fantasy dragons. You can't be doing that to a man. That's not normal, and it's not super fresh, and it's most certainly not how it should be done. Man cheese, of course. Could only stand watching a few minutes of the chrono videos. I wanted to shout at the screen. Horology Biology, chrono service is much better. Thanks, Tom, but it's not about that. It's about education, and like I said, for me, it's about, I don't know everything. But what I'm trying to say is, don't be preaching that you're doing something a certain way, and then I think when you get to a certain level and you have that many kind of comments coming in, you have a certain moral obligation to your viewers to basically show it how it is right, in my opinion. Trevor, might be worth checking the crown gaskets too. I did, you missed it. Like I showed it briefly, and it will get replaced 100%. I wonder if I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it out right now. Let's have we can have a quick look. It's just, I'm not going to do it now, but it will be replaced. I'm going to just use an old oiler. I don't even know if you guys can see this. In fact, let me try it like this. One thing you guys, I mean, I'm sure you do appreciate it, but sometimes people don't realize how tricky it can be to do certain things while you're on a camera, while talking at the same time as well, you know, and you're trying to get it right. And then, of course, you're trying to focus. And so let's have a look. Now, there is gunk in there, and I can see it. And it's the same thing. It feels very hard, but I can see moisture. And I don't believe it's water. I think it is, again, like a silicone grease. It will get replaced 100%. It needs to. There's no way that can stay as it is. But I have a box full of these, all different sizes, so I'm not worried. But it will be done, 100%. But I don't believe that the last person serviced it, because even if this watch was serviced 10 years ago, let's say, there's no way that this gasket would be in this kind of condition just after 10 years. I mean, I think this is probably the original gasket. Craze, not crazy. They seem to go through the thickness. Absolutely right. Tom says, none of us do, Matt. You're always learning in this game. If you aren't, then it's really not for you. Exactly. You never stop learning new things and stuff like that. And sometimes people get hung up and think that one way is the right way of doing it. That's also wrong. Sometimes you can have a certain thing where different ways get the same result, and it's about what works for you, as long as it's, you know, a best practice, let's say. And also, I have no problem with that. But guys, I'm going to wrap it up, I think, guys. I think we serviced this watch. Sorry, not serviced it. I think we stripped down this watch. We've been on for an hour and 25 minutes. I love you guys so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. And guys, I really wish you a really Merry Christmas. I hope you have a really nice time with your loved ones, and you have good food, and you don't drink too much. Don't do it, because you're going to regret it. I know it for sure. And stay safe, and have a really, really nice Christmas break. So guys, I probably won't speak to you till the new year. Maybe I will drop something in the new year, like before the new year. I'm not sure. Probably not. But obviously in the new year, I'll have like nice new videos and things like that, and different watches to work on. I have one that I will be doing in the new year that I still need to do, a watch of my own, which is another chronograph. And it's a really, really nice watch with a really cool, different kind of case to it. The way that you have to remove the watch. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, it's a nice watch, and I haven't serviced it yet, so I will definitely be doing that one for sure. Okay, guys, have an amazing time. Thank you so much for the comments. Stay safe, enjoy the new year, and I wish you all a super, super Merry Christmas. And guys, as always, till next time.